Good morning, everyone. I wanted to do a quick update and talk a little bit more about ADHD. If you're live and you can see me, would you let me know that you can hear me okay? Every time I use this setup with a microphone and stuff, I'm not always sure that it works, right? And then I have to go back and listen to it later and just hope that it goes okay. But I hope you guys are having a good morning. I told you last week that it'll probably be another week before I came back with an update, and I was about right. There's a lot been going on, and I've been super busy and stressed out. We had kind of the situation with Nehemiah got really interesting on Friday, and I'm not going to go into the details. I have a meeting today with a couple of the principals of the schools and the special education representative, myself, and I think my husband's going to be able to come too, to just kind of discuss what's going on and how we can work the situation to help Nehemiah out. Nehemiah's started out school doing okay, and then up until now his grades have declined and his behavior has also escalated, and a lot of it has to do with just having so many issues with not being understood with his ADHD and even the slight autistic characteristics that Nehemiah has, as well as just fighting for the right accommodations for him all school year. And we're in the third trimester now. And a typical person would, start to get frustrated or give up or, things like that. But Nehemiah also has depression. So he's also having a hard time. And so things have kind of escalated, and it's like the problem that I'm having is the school is causing him harm. He's declining, his grades are dropping, and his behavior is escalating because he's not getting the appropriate help and motivation and encouragement in school. And if something's causing harm, then I don't want him to be there. Like I'm to the point where I almost want to take him out of school, and I'm looking at other options. So I would appreciate your guys' prayers on that for sure, because I'm not sure what the solution's going to be for this. I can't continue to have him going on a downward spiral. He needs to be moving in a positive direction. I did mention that we have asked for an IEP. So that process is supposed to have been started, but I have not heard anything about that yet either. And I haven't gotten any call about it from the psychologist or where we are in that process. So Nehemiah is kind of in a fragile state right now. I did ask for CBRS for Nehemiah. I did do the interview for that. I have to do another assessment for him next week, and then hopefully he'll get on the list to get a CBRS worker, which is somebody that can come work with him one-on-one after school hours to just kind of help him reach some goals and deal with the stress and the depression and things that he's dealing with, because I want to put a stop to like the decline in behavior. If I can't do anything else, like I need assistance and another positive adult in his life that's going to be encouraging him and helping him to make good choices and to continue to fight and to not give up. And so that's why I asked for the CBRS. He was supposed to have counseling on Friday, and it didn't turn out. He didn't get to go. He won't be able to go this week either. He'll have to go next week. But I do see the psychiatrist. Yeah, my stuff's going to fall down. So you're just going to have to see my stuff behind me. So basically, we're going to just continue to work with Nehemiah on those types of things, and he sees the psychiatrist tomorrow. So hopefully I'll be able to get make sure his medicine is right. I don't think he needs a medicine change. He just needs school to change. So that's my update. I am still waiting for a care provider for Elijah. The one that we had a different job, and they have not replaced her yet. So I don't know how long we're going to be without one, but hopefully we'll get one soon. I have some more concerns with Micah. He's doing okay, but I wasn't really happy with the answers I got about his reading and performance in school. So I'm not sure what to do about that. We'll take that one step at a time. I still am concerned about Abijah. Abijah was seen for occupational therapy the day before yesterday, and the occupational therapist agreed that Abijah is developmentally delayed, at least with fine motor skills and daily living skills, and so he's going to be getting twice a week occupational therapy. He mentioned that his gait and balance was off, and he was kind of clumsy and awkward, and you add that to the speech delay and how difficult it is for him to learn new things, that I'm really wondering what's going on. And it sounds like it might be more of a more going on than he has right now. We don't think it's ADHD anymore. We think there might be another developmental delay or disability, or there might be something going on with his brain. So I scheduled an appointment to see the doctor tomorrow for Abijah, and I'm going to be requesting for a neurodevelopmental assessment. Might even look for a neurological assessment just to see if there's anything going on with his brain. Maybe he needs a scan. Chiari malformation is possible because we have the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and that could cause some of the things that he's struggling with, but I'm not exactly sure. So we'll just ask for your guys' prayers on that issue as well. So back to the ADHD, I wanted to let you guys know. I don't know if you guys can hear the notifications on my phone. I'm sorry if you can, but my phone goes off nonstop, and I have a message on my phone that says, if I don't answer the phone, text me or email me. And I think that gets misunderstood. So let me explain this real quick. I have multiple appointments a day, and I'm going nonstop. I'm either at a doctor's office, I'm at a therapy office, I'm at my own therapy where I can't have my phone on me, or I'm at a doctor's appointment, or I have 7 kids running around yelling and screaming and I can't step outside. So it's very difficult for me to answer the phone. It's not an avoidance or I don't want to talk to anybody. It's just I can't answer my phone because I have so much going on. So texting me, it's a lot easier for me to respond to a text in the middle of a doctor's appointment or respond to a text when the kids are going nuts and I can't answer my phone than to just answer the phone every time someone calls. And I can also read an email when I get a chance to sit down, and it's a little bit easier to hear instead of trying to listen to a voicemail because it's hard to hear with all the kids and everything and even the places I'm at, some of the therapy offices and doctor's office might be loud as well. So that's why I have that. It's not anything negative. It's just my life. It makes my life a little bit easier to have things that way. Okay, so on to the ADHD. I want to show you guys this book. It's called Smart But Scattered. And this is a book that I was talking about, and I mentioned it before. It is an older book. Old but a goodie. It is, let's see, when was it published? 2009. So not that old, but not new either. I like this book because it pretty much describes Nehemiah. He's smart but scattered. And it focuses on executive functioning skills, which are listed here. And these are some of the things that I really need people to understand that people with ADHD struggle with. So I'm going to read them off so you know. Response inhibition, working memory, emotional control, sustained attention, task initiation, planning and prioritizing, organization, time management, goal-directed persistence, flexibility, and metacognition. And these are the things that kids with ADHD and adults, honestly, adults with ADHD struggle with as far as executive functioning skills. This doesn't really focus on the other issues like the hyperactivity and what did I can't think of the word right now. It slipped my mind, but it focuses more on the ability to function in a school setting and in a work environment, which is what we're focusing on with Nehemiah more than anything. Impulse control, that's what I was trying to think of. I knew it would come to me eventually. So the hyperactivity and the impulse control is not covered in this book, although that is still very much so a part of ADHD. It's just not the focus of this book. So response inhibition could kind of be with that impulse control, but this book focuses on how it works in a school environment or a work environment. A lot of people with ADHD can lose their job because they overreact or respond, and then they don't think about what they're doing, and it's a negative thing that happens, and they can get fired. And so there's a lot of impact for ADHD that some people probably don't even think about or consider, with such a large population of America having this diagnosis. People knowing more about it, and even bosses and employers should know what's going on, not just the school system. The school system is picking up and getting better about dealing with ADHD because there's more awareness and more children are being diagnosed. So they're having to experience it and figure out ways to deal with it. But Idaho, and I looked this up, and I don't have the slides for me right now, but Idaho has a lower than national average for diagnosis of ADHD. And so there might be either underdiagnosed or they don't have as many instances of it. So there's not as much experience with it. And that's the only thing that I can think of that may be part of the issue that we're dealing with the school systems and Nehemiah here. But so response inhibition, this book defines it as the capacity to think before you act, the ability to resist the urge to say or do something, allows a child the time to evaluate a situation and how his or her behavior might impact it. Working memory is the ability to hold information in memory while performing complex tasks. It incorporates the ability to draw on past learning or experiences to apply to the situation at hand or to project into the future, which is something that is difficult for kids that are on the spectrum. And a lot of kids on the spectrum have ADHD because they have a hard time taking what they learn in one environment and applying it to another. Emotional control is the ability to manage emotions, to achieve goals, complete tasks, and to control and direct behavior. That's something that we spent a lot of time working on, which is why I'm very proud of Nehemiah that he went so long before having an emotional outburst. It could have been, emotional outbursts repeatedly. The fact that he has dealt with things so far and done fairly well with it. I'm proud of him that he went almost 2/3 of the year before having any kind of emotional outburst. So, sustained attention, the capacity to keep paying attention to a situation or task in spite of distractibility, fatigue, or boredom. This is the biggest thing that Nehemiah struggles with, is sustained attention. Task initiation is the ability to begin projects without undue procrastination in an efficient and timely fashion, which we know Nehemiah doesn't do. Planning and prioritizing is the ability to create a roadmap to reach a goal or to complete a task. It involves being able to make decisions about what's important to focus on and what's not important. Again, this is difficult for Nehemiah. Organization, the ability to create and maintain systems to keep track of information and materials. You can look at Nehemiah's room and tell he's not organized. Time management, the capacity to estimate how much time one has, how to allocate it, and how to stay within time limits and deadlines. It involves a sense of time, realizing that time is important. Goal-directed persistence is the capacity to have a goal, follow through to the completion of the goal, and not be put off by or distracted by competing interests, which is extremely difficult for kids with ADHD. Flexibility, the ability to revise plans in the face of obstacles, setbacks, new information, or mistakes. It relates to an adaptability to changing conditions. And metacognition is the ability to stand back and take a bird's eye view of yourself in a situation, to observe how you problem solve. It includes self-monitoring and self-evaluating skills, like asking yourself, how am I doing, or how did I do? So just giving you those definitions, all of those things are difficult for anyone with ADHD, especially in the school and work environment. So it's important to know that they're struggling with these things and have a reasonable expectation of how they're going to perform based on knowing that these are areas of struggle. So if you know that these are not normal for someone and you expect that these things are going to be a problem, then you're not going to have a wrong reaction to, or respond negatively or want to discipline things that are just part of their struggles and what they lack in that the average person doesn't lack in. So I'm just going to go over this one more time. They struggle with response inhibition, working memory, emotional control, sustained attention, task initiation, planning and prioritizing, organization, time management, goal-directed persistence, flexibility, and metacognition. So kids with ADHD and adults with ADHD, these are difficult for them. And there are ways to help with these things, but their ADHD can't be just corrected. You can't just make it go away. They're always going to struggle with these things, even on medication. It just may help improve it a little bit, but they're still going to be struggling with these types of things. So in the school environment, and that's why I like this book a lot, because it gives actual ways to help deal with these behaviors. And I love the fact that it has a bunch of graphic organizers and different things in here. It has a step goal process where you have step 1, step 2, and then how are you going to reach that goal, and then figuring it out. Not right now. Ask your brother. Sorry. So that I really like. And in the back of this book, they have what to do for the schools, and there is a set of IEP goals, and there's also 504 accommodations listed in here. And this is what I've been trying to do with the school system, is making goals and making accommodations that are going to help affect. They're going to help Nehemiah perform better in the school environment. So I highly recommend this book if you want to know more about ADHD and how to help deal with it. I want to say there are some things that you can copy in here. I might take it and make Nehemiah some copies of this if I can, to maybe help him with some long-term tasks and planning. There's this book covers from preschool all the way through high school for children, and it also covers adults, because a lot of times ADHD is hereditary, so you'll have the parent that's having an issue as well. So it kind of goes over some things for adults, but it's mainly focused on children. This is a homework planner that they have in here. Checklists and for tasks. And if you come into my home, I use these things a lot. I have a daily schedule listed on the wall, and I have checklists for the kids in their own notebooks that they keep track of, because it's different for each kid. And I have a reward system for them, because I've been dealing with this for years. So I've already implemented a lot of these things in my home, and I know how to do them. And I have no problem teaching people how to do them either. I really do know what I'm talking about, and I know what works. This is an incentive planning sheet. So This has to do with what goals do you have and what are your daily rewards, weekly rewards, and long-term rewards. That's when I say, like, having rewards is so important because it helps motivate and can make a difference in the overall functioning. There's a behavior contract. That's something that we can talk about as behavior intervention plans. That is something that can be done in the school system. And here is a designing interventions page. So there's a lot of really good information in here. I highly recommend it. So here's a morning routine checklist, which I already have these for my kids at home. Because not only am I dealing with ADHD, I'm dealing with autism, and they like organization and structure. So I try to have the same schedule every day. The times are about the same. I'm trying to make dinner about the same time every night. Their nighttime routines, their bedtime routines, and their morning stuff. I have like 20 alarms in my phone to keep me on track because I can't keep up with all of it. But it helps to have a consistent schedule every day and then checklists. And because we just moved to a new home, I have not printed out daily chore checklists, but where we came from, I did have a chore list that had checklists to make sure everything was done. So that's something I will do eventually, working on getting everything set up. So one more thing I wanted to share, and that is the Vanderbilt ADHD Diagnostic, because I think it gives a good overview of the behaviors that are expected with ADHD. So let me go ahead and share that. All right. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's really kind of tiny. I'm not that great at the controls on the computer. There we go. I'll make it really big. Okay, as big as I can. All right, so I'm just going to read through these. This is the Vanderbilt ADHD Diagnostic that you can find online. This is something that a psych will use just to kind of see where someone is on the scale for how bad their ADHD is, and also to diagnose ADHD. But they use a lot of other techniques for diagnosing ADHD, not just this. It's just a more of a screening tool, so it's not comprehensive at all. But anyway, we'll go over it. It says, does not pay attention to details or makes careless mistakes with, for example, homework. I mentioned that in my ADHD slide, how you might miss a plus or a minus in a math assignment or a not in a question. It's very easy for them to do. Has difficulty keeping attention to what needs to be done. Does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. Does not follow through when given directions and fails to finish activities. Not due to refusal or failure to understand. Has difficulty organizing tasks and activities. Avoids, dislikes, or does not want to start tasks that require ongoing mental effort. Loses things necessary for tasks or activities. Is easily distracted by noises or other stimuli. Is forgetful in daily activities. Fidgets with hands or feet or squirms in seat. Leaves seat when remaining seated as expected. Runs about or climbs too much when remaining seated as expected. Has difficulty playing or beginning quiet play activities. Is on the go or often acts as if driven by a motor. Talks too much. Blurts out answers before questions have been completed. Has difficulty waiting his or her turn. Interrupts or intrudes in on others' conversations and or activities. Argues with adults. Loses temper. Actively defies or refuses to go along with adults' requests or rules. Deliberately annoys people. Blames others for his or her mistakes or misbehaviors. Is touchy or easily annoyed by others. Is angry or resentful. Is spiteful and wants to get even. Bullies, threatens, or intimidates others. Starts physical fights. lies to get out of trouble or to avoid obligation, is truant from school without permission, is physically cruel to people, has stolen things that have value, deliberately destroys others' property, has used a weapon that can cause serious harm, is physically cruel to animals, which not all these are ADHD. These are just some things that can come with additional untreated ADHD, has deliberately set fires to cause damage, has broken into someone else's home, business, or car, has stayed out at night without permission, has run away from home overnight, has forced someone into sexual activity, is fearful, anxious, or worried, is afraid to try new things for fear of making mistakes, feels worthless or inferior, blames self for problems, feels guilty, feels lonely, unwanted, or unloved, complains that no one loves him or her, is sad, unhappy, or depressed, is self-conscious or easily embarrassed. So like the last portion of this is looking for co-diagnosis with ADHD. So a lot of times ADHD comes with other diagnosis, which would like oppositional defiance disorder or a conduct disorder, which those things that are crimes like stealing, setting fires, and harming others would be conduct disorder, not ADHD. And I mentioned that in another video, how a lot of times ADHD comes with co-diagnosis. The feeling sad or worthless or blaming themselves or feeling guilty, that's depression. And anxiety. So depression and anxiety can come along with ADHD as a separate diagnosis that's connected with ADHD. So this is the Vanderbilt ADHD Diagnostic. Is looking to see whether someone has ADHD, how severe it is, and are there possibly other diagnoses associated with ADHD. So I hope that kind of gives you an idea of ADHD and kind of what Nehemiah is dealing with and how he is acting. Almost more than half of those describe Nehemiah, basically the 1 through like 24 on this list is Nehemiah in a lot of ways. And I bet if I took this to the teachers and said, does this sound like Nehemiah? They say, yes, it does. Because he has ADHD that's pretty severe. And even on meds, it does help alleviate some of the symptoms, but he still has quite a few symptoms. So let me go ahead and stop sharing this tab. And we'll go back to this. So I've gone almost half an hour, which is crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. Please share it out. Feel free to share it with other people that might want to know more about ADHD or just to know what's going on with their family, because I want to keep everybody updated as well. And Jeremiah has a birthday party coming up this weekend, so look out for that. And I'll be sharing that with you guys as well. So have a good day, everybody.